Hello everyone and welcome back to another session of Elden Ring PvP and another weapon showcase. Today we're taking a look at the Commander's Standard. This is a weapon that is dropped by Commander O'Neill in Eastern Caelid. He is inside the swamp and I'll have an image on screen showing his location. This weapon is really surprisingly fun to use. I had a great time with it, which I didn't expect. There's a lot with this weapon that I just typically don't enjoy with weapons in this game, and yet this one, I don't know, it's the exception to the rule. So let's go ahead and start off with the basics. This weapon requires 24 strength and 14 dexterity to wield, and it weighs 11.5 units. The skill of the weapon is Rallying Standard, and you're stuck with it because this is a somber weapon, and at plus 10 it will have a physical base damage of 338, a B scaling in strength, and a D scaling in dexterity. So, this weapon, its skill is just a buff, and it's a decent buff on the PvE side of things, and it's fine at best on the PvP side, but that's really all that it is. And typically, I don't like weapons that have skills that are just buffs. So, what makes this one so special? Why do I enjoy this one so much more? Something about this weapon makes me feel like I'm using a spear in Dark Souls 1. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about it. It's something to do with the speed of it, the moveset, the length of the weapon possibly. It's hard to place exactly what it is that gives me that Dark Souls 1 spear kind of vibe, but this weapon has it, and I like that a lot. Now, as far as the pros of the weapon, the range on this thing is huge. It's the second longest weapon in the game, just behind the pike. So of course that means it will be the longest weapon in the halberd class, and that's great. Outside of that, the damage on this weapon is also spectacular. With it having thrusting attacks, it will work with the Spear Talisman, and you all know I love that. And the moveset is also quite good. It's the same moveset as the Dragon Halberd. Your R1s are thrusts, your R2s are sweeps. It's basically the Partisan, but better, so what's not to love? I mean, you gotta love it. And with that, there's just a lot with this weapon that makes it extremely viable. You don't need to rely on a skill in order to have it be a good weapon. You can just rely on your skill as opposed to the weapon skill, I suppose we should say. Now, that said, with this weapon's moveset, the R1s, like I mentioned, are going to be pokes. They'll work with the Spear Talisman. That's when you're one-handing or two-handing, and that includes your running attacks and your jumping R1s. With your R2s, they will be sweeps. That also includes your running R2 and jumping R2. It's convenient like that. It makes it easy to remember. Your crouch attacks are going to be a sweep as well. And with all of those sweeping attacks with your R2s, they make it so you can deal with a lot of different situations when fighting your opponent. If they're trying to strafe around you, throw out an R2. If they roll past you, unlock and go for an R2 or do a crouch attack, that will work as well. And overall, because of that, it's a very reliable moveset, and that's a good thing. Now, as far as the skill is concerned, it's, like I said, fine at best for PvP. In PvE, it's actually pretty decent. It gives you a 20% damage buff and adds 20% to your damage negation. That's phenomenal. But in PvP, it does not do that. It is a 2.5% damage buff and a 5% boost to your damage negation. And yes, 5% is all well and good. The buff lasts 30 seconds, by the way. And like I was saying, 5% on the damage negation, that's all well and good, but 2.5% on the damage is really kind of trash. And with it being that bad, I generally will opt to not use it at all. And the reason for that is because if my opponent sees me put on a buff, they're more than likely to just buff themselves, and 99% of the time, their buff will actually be much better than mine. So why give them that advantage if they're going to buff in reaction to me? Well, I'd rather just not buff at all. That's my 2 cents on that. So, with this weapon, the cons of it, there's really not a whole lot bad to say about this thing. The skill on it, like I said, is kind of garbage for PvP, but that's fine, just don't use it. There are other buffs in the game that you can use. Throw Golden Vow on a dagger, put it in your offhand, and just swap back to this when you're done. It'll work. It's fine. Aside from that, though, it feels like a spear, it acts like a spear, it kind of looks like a spear, but it is a halberd, and as such, it cannot turtle poke. That would make this thing way too powerful in my opinion, but it would be nice to have, and it would kind of go with the way the weapon feels. But something about it, like I said, makes it feel like it is a spear in Dark Souls 1. Something plain, simple, and reliable, even, that is just able to let you show off without needing to rely on a weapon's skill. Because most weapons in this game have very powerful skills, and a lot of them are very overtuned. So when you have a weapon that doesn't need it, that can feel good in its own right. So it is what it is. But that's my 2 cents on this thing. Let me know what you guys think about this weapon. Do you think that it is too powerful? Do you think that it does too much damage? Do you think that it should have been a spear instead of a halberd? Because honestly, to me, it feels like it is more of a spear than a halberd, as I've said. So let me know what you all think about that. Aside from that, there's really not anything else for me to say, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you have, then please do all the YouTube things for me. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Stick around to the end of the video, help out with the engagement, you know. All the YouTube metrics and algorithm assisting things, do them for me, because I appreciate it when you do, because it helps the channel, and that motivates me to keep making videos, which you guys like, evidently, by the fact that you've stuck around and listened to me talk in this video for so long, in spite of the fact that I'm not really saying anything important at all. So do the things for me, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Stick around to the end and watch that last fight, because you'll probably enjoy it, and I'll see you all next time.